Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to talk about Boltund. I also want to give an apology to one Boltund. You see, over in the Sword and Shield base set, there were two Boltund. And I referred to one as a good Boltund and one as the, not so good Boltund. And actually what I'm doing today is trying to make an argument for why the bad Boltund is actually really good and we should all consider playing it, or at least if we're playing a lightning deck, we should all consider playing it. The one which I previously really quite liked, for free energy did 90 damage, but against a Pokemon V or GX it did 180. And to be fair, that will still get a KO on Dedenne, and it will still get a KO on Crobat V, and there are a bunch of other weaker Gs and VXs that it will get a KO on. But that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one that does, for just free energy, 160 damage, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Now, to be fair, it's got free retreat, so the it can't attack is fine, it can just retreat. But free energy 160 is beautiful. Now, before we go any further, I do need to give a shout out to the lovely Legally Sarcastic over on Twitter. This is a card that I had in my mind to talk about in the near future, but it was Legally Sarcastic talking the other day about it that made me go, you know what? It's time. We need to talk about this card. So shout out to that lovely dude for convincing me to make this just a little bit faster. And what we've essentially got here is an answer to Obstagoon and an answer to Decidueye. Because the fact of the matter is, lightning decks at the moment are pretty gosh darn good. But they have pretty pronounced weaknesses. And two of the weaknesses are Decidueye and Obstagoon. Now, there is a chance that in the future, it is Pikachu v Max that everybody's really wanting to play. And that being an evolved Pokemon will go right through Obstagoon. Although, to be clear, even at that stage, you're still going to be blocked by Decidueye. Also, look at the alternate art. He wants a cuddle. It's so cute. So even then, you're still going to need an answer to Decidueye. And Decidueye's rocking 140 HP. Obstagoon's rocking 160. But also, Obstagoon does 90 damage. And Decidueye does 90 plus 20 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. To put it another way, neither of them actually get a KO against this Boltund. Although it should be mentioned that Decidueye, if it hits you twice on the bench, will consider playing a Mew to protect your bench. And it should also be pointed out that when you evolve into Obstagoon, you get to drop 3 damage counters. And if you drop 3 damage counters onto Boltund and then hit it for 90, that will get a one-hit KO. But again, you've got to pull off the evolution and having a 2 energy to attack on the same turn, or else it all falls apart. And what Boltund will do is just get a nice, easy, straightforward one-hit KO on either of those Pokemon, and then it's got free retreat, so if you don't need it anymore, you just retreat and start attacking with something else. And I don't think Boltund in and of itself is going to be a particularly good Pokemon, a particularly good deck. But I think as a 1-1 or 2-2 line in some of these lightning decks, it really can be. Because if we look at the kind of Pokemon we've been seeing played in these decks up to now, we've got Pikachu and Zekrom, which is a basic GX, where it gets blocked by both Obstagoon and Decidueye. We've seen Boltund, which is a basic Pokemon V, so it gets blocked by both of them. Raichu and Alolan Raichu, basic GX, blocked by both of them. We do see some decks playing a one-off Zapdos, but firstly, it's a basic Pokemon, and secondly, even when it comes up against Decidueye, it's not getting a one-hit KO. And if Decidueye can hit it when it's on the bench, then Decidueye will do 20 when it's on the bench plus 90 for the attack, which will then get a KO. So Zapdos is just not a particularly good answer. We see some of these decks playing Tapu Koko, and we're talking basic Pokemon V, so it gets blocked by both of them. And really, a lot of the time, we see the emergency Tapu Koko largely play for the energy acceleration. We'll get there in a minute. But for free energy, it can do 120. Which isn't enough to KO Decidueye and isn't enough to KO Obstagoon. And it is worth noting that with Electro Power having rotated out, it's not like you can just play an Electro Power and then you do get a KO. You just don't get a KO. So these decks are going to need an answer. As it stands at the moment, the Lightning decks, as we've been playing them, just get completely shut down by Obstagoon. And they get completely shut down by Decidueye. And we saw as recently as the Players Online Global Championships, which admittedly was pre-rotation, but with Darkness Ablaze, we saw that Pikachu and Zekrom won. We saw that Pikachu and Zekrom got 5th place. And the deck had no answer to Obstagoon, really. I know you can beat it by using boss's orders to take out Pokemon in the early game, and I know you can play around with Raichu and Alolan Raichu getting paralysis and trying to stop them attacking, because remember, they only protect against basic Pokemon if they attack, so if you can turn off their attack for even a turn, you'll be fine. But it's not exactly a great strategy, and we've seen it win, and we've seen it be successful, but it's still not a particularly great strategy, shall we say. It hurts. You end up really struggling against these two Pokemon. And we did see that one of the decks played at the Players' Cup this weekend was literally just an Obstagoon Decidueye deck. And if they start becoming a lot more prevalent, these kind of Lightning decks are just going to scoop. So in comes Boltund. And the reason I'm suggesting Boltund rather than a basic, I am unaware, and if you think I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section, but I am unaware of any basic Lightning Pokemon that can really be good against Decidueye right now. And even if they are, they still won't go against Obstagoon. So it's got to be a stage 1. And as far as I am aware, and again, correct me in the comments if you think I'm wrong, this is a stage 1 I think you need to go for. We finally got some Pokemon that are really good at locking you out of the game. And this will cover you. And it is only a stage 1, and the free retreat is really good. And as for the energy, I mean, Pikachu and Zekrom, when you attack, you accelerate free energy. And remember, when you attack into Decidueye or when you attack into Obstagoon, you don't do any damage, but you do still get to accelerate the energy. And like I've said, a lot of these decks are going to struggle to get a one-hit KO. Remember, by the time Obstagoon is out, it's too late for them to, most of the time, evolve up and take out a Boltund. If they haven't evolved into Obstagoon, you get the KO with Pikachu and Zekrom. If they have, it's too late to evolve and drop the damage onto your Boltund. And Decidueye, if you've got a Mew out, is not really getting a KO. So that's alright. Even if they boss his orders, they're not getting a KO on the Boltund, you'll still get an attack off. And you've got Tapu Koko that accelerates 1 lightning energy to each of 2 bench Pokemon when you lost zone it from the bench. And you can always try some energy switch shenanigans. If you've gone and put your energy onto Pikachu and Zekrom or another tag team, you can tag switch over. It's not maybe the best option, but do remember I showed you an Electrode the other day that allows you to KO it. And yes, that does mean giving up a prize, but then you search your deck for 2 lightning energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. So that plus attaching from your hand, and bearing in mind, if you're going to lose the game because you have no answer to a Decidueye, and you give up a prize to get a KO on their only Decidueye and win, it's worth giving up the prize with Electrode in that scenario. So I don't think we should be worried about getting the energy on. And then after that, it's good. And the thing is, as much as you're playing this to get the one-hit KO onto Obstagoon and Decidueye, and make no mistake, this is specifically a tech for Lightning decks against those 2 Pokemon, let's be clear. Most other decks do play random single-prize Pokemon. Darkness decks like to play either the Hooper from Darkness Ablaze, does 90 if it became active this turn, or the Hooper from Unified Minds that does 10 damage, plus 20 for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play with an ability. Some of them even play both of those, to be fair. And this will take either of them out. We see that Metal decks like to play Duraludon to accelerate a bit of energy in the early game, or even just as a nice little single prize attacker. This will take that out. And it is worth pointing out that because you do 160, even if they've got a metal goggles attached, you will still get the KO here. If they've got a metal goggles and they've used Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, admittedly you won't, you'll be a little bit short. But hopefully if they've used Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, you'll be able to find a tool scrapper to go and get a KO. This strikes me as a kind of Pokemon that more decks should be playing. Lightning decks at the moment are basically taking a hard loss to any Decidueye or Obstagoon based deck, and a 1-1-2-2 line of Boltund could turn that from an auto loss into a good or maybe even phenomenal matchup, and for that reason, I think it's time to start taking Boltund a little more seriously. But I'd like to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.